त्रिलोचनाय नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय मन्दाकिनी सलिलचन्दन चर्चिताय मन्दाकिनी सलिलचन्दन चर्चिताय नन्दीश्वर प्रमथनाथ महेश्वराय मन्दार पुष्प बहुपुष्प सुपूजिताय तस्मै मकाराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै मकाराय नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय शिवाय गौरी वदनाब्जवृन्द सूर्याय दक्षाध्वरनाशकाय श्रीनीलकण्ठाय वृषध्वजाय तस्मै शिकाराय नमः शिवाय शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय वसिष्ठकुम्भोद्भवगौतमार्य मुनीन्द्रदेवार्चितशेखराय चन्द्रार्कवैश्वानरलोचनाय तस्मै वकाराय नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय शिवाय यज्ञस्वरूपाय जटाधराय पीनाकहस्ताय सनातनाय दिव्याय देवाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै यकाराय नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय पञ्चाक्षरमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन सह मोदते। ॐ हर हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 Third verse, 6th chapter. अर्जुन उवाच योऽयं योगस्त्वया प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वात् स्थितिं स्थिरां चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवद्दृढं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करं। श्रीभगवानुवाच असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येण च गृह्यते। असंयतात्मना योगः दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुमुपायतः। Arjuna is asking a question to Bhagwan, where he says, Bhagwan, I have understood what is the main essence of the teaching so far. Essence of the teaching is to see Samya Vastu, to see that consciousness, which is the substratum of this creation, and to understand that consciousness I am. This Samya Vastu Darshanam, that is the main essence of your teaching so far. And it is not that I have not understood, Bhagavan. He says, I have understood, I paid attention to what you spoke in 6 chapters. But my problem is, I am unable to keep my mind in this truth for a long period of time. Sthiram sthitim na pashyami. 33rd verse. Etasya aham sthiram sthitim na pashyami. 2nd line. Why do I not see this abidance in the self? Chanchalatvat. Because mind is very fickle. Mind is very chanchala. Doesn't hold on to one thing for a longer time. That is why I am unable to see abidance in this truth. Then he goes on to explain few more things about mind. It is pramathi. It churns me from within. Balavat, it is very, very strong. Nobody can make it bow down. Drudham doesn't get tired with time. All these are indicators of my mind. Please tell me, how should I control this mind? Tasya aham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. I think this control is even more difficult than controlling wind. So we had seen here, one lakshana, one indicator of a sadhaka is, he is working upon himself. 700 verses Bhagavan Krishna spoke, not even one verse is mentioned how to work on Duryodhana. He could have said, right? If you want to change Duryodhana, try these strategies. Not even one verse. This point, when we understand what is Adhyatma Marga, we will become true sadhakas. The day I realize I have to work on my mind, not on somebody else's mind, that is the day I should start congratulating myself. I have started walking on the path of sadhana. Sadhaka is the one, when he looks within, he finds all limitations and faults. And when he looks outside, he sees perfection. बुरा जो देखा न मैं चला, बुरा न मिला कोई. Kabir Das ji says, I went out looking for a bad person, went out looking for a person who has faults, and I found nobody. Why did he find nobody? He says this creation is run by God, not by people. It is run by Bhagavan. In his creation, whatever he has made has a purpose. Jo mana khoja apana, the one who started looking into his own mind, mujhse bura na koi. He didn't find anybody with more impurities than himself. These are statements of a sadhaka. Huh? The one who becomes a sadhaka will start thinking in this way. Same thing is said in other places also, in a different way. If you ask Goswamiji, who is a devotee, he says one who doesn't see fault in others, that person is a devotee. Not in waking state. In dream also he doesn't see fault. Sapane hu nahi, dekhai paradosa. But when he sees within himself, he sees all these limitations. Chanchalatva is there, Pramati is there, Balavat is there, Drudham is there. Means he says, my own mind is so turbulent, I have to work on that mind, not anything else in this world. That is Arjuna's sincere question to Bhagavan. Bhagavan replies by saying, Arjuna, what you spoke is true. If you have understood that your own mind is difficult to handle, then there is a chance that you will be able to control it. Any problem that we deny, we will never find solution to it. Either it is health or it is mind. Whatever I am denying for myself, I will never be able to find a good solution for it. So Bhagavan said that is true, what you said, mind is difficult to control. But there is a way out. What is the way? Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. He says our mind is like bi-directional river. In a general river, you have flow happening only in one direction, but our mind is bi-directional river. One direction of thoughts goes towards people, sense objects, and all lower things in this world. And another direction of thought goes towards Bhagavan. Now and then this thought comes, I am that consciousness. Where am I identifying with this ego? And going into this samsara with this hope of changing samsara. And in that pursuit becoming a samsari. This is Maharaj's definition. He says, who is a samsari? One who tries to change samsara. Now and then mind goes towards Bhagavan also. So here Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, that direction of flow which is going towards Bhagavan, we have to repeat it more and more. Whatever little sadhana chatushtaya is there, whatever little satsang we have done, Subtler objects of enquiry, repeat it more and more. Vedanta Mahavakya, if you have understood what it is, he says repeat it more and more. Don't take it casually, that I have heard I am Brahma, I have understood I am Brahma, that is my liberation. He says, look at your life, be honest. Is this notion fully gone that I am a jiva? Or do I still get caught up with this ahankara? Does world still bother me, or have I gotten this conviction there is nothing called as world? Until that point happens, don't stop. Do abhyasa of Mahavakya, and at the same time stop the mind from going towards the other direction. One direction goes towards God, another direction goes towards world. So that mind which is running towards mundane things, stop it there. Think about the consequences of mind going there. Think about what is it doing to my spiritual journey. Is it helping me become better devotee of God? Or is it stopping me from becoming a devotee? Look at the impact it has had on spiritual brilliance. If you sat for meditation and mind became very quiet and calm, you heard some nice bhajan, did some good chanting, mind became very calm and quiet. Right after that, if mind goes into some worldly thing, in fact, mind will not even want to go. If somebody says, let's watch a movie, he says, no, this joy that I am getting is much better than movie joy. Not that we will never watch a movie. At that time, when mind is intoxicated with supreme bliss, other types of joys look inferior. And for some reason, if you say, you have to engage in something which is bringing you out of that supreme bliss, how we feel that Vishaya is not worth pursuing. It has brought down my spiritual joy, brought down my spiritual brilliance. Think about those consequences also. And with all this vichara, with all this thinking, stop the mind from going towards lower things. Abhyasa is called as repetition, and Vairagya is called as conversation. One Mahatma Ji, he would say, if your mind goes towards inferior things, goes towards people, goes towards object, observe the mind in such a way that you embarrass the mind. I like that word. You embarrass the mind and ask that mind, you are a sadhaka and this is where you want to go. What will you get by going there? And don't underestimate the power of this conversation. In fact, this is greater than any physical sadhana. Sadhana as an action gives its own result. But sadhana as introspection gives greater result. Because it is changing the way we think, it is changing the way we are living our life. 3 obstacles of the mind. One is called as Bahirmukta. Mind is extroverted by nature. What was the second one? Sthulata. It naturally thinks about gross things. Somebody's guna dosha, some sense object. These are all gross as far as spiritual pursuit is concerned. We don't have to do sadhana to think about these things. The mind will naturally think about it. What was the third one? Chanchalata. By nature it jumps from one topic to another. And Bhagavan Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't say nature of mind is like this. It is not mind's inherent nature, it is something that we have built for ourselves. Through repeated practice, we allowed the mind to be this way. I took it casually that if mind is going there, let it go. I was not aware of the consequences, I did not pay attention to consequences, and this mind has become very, very strong. But the good news is, just like it has become strong for worldly things, I can make it strong for spiritual things also. So just for these three things, how repetition made it stronger, if I give the counter of those three things, mind will become stronger in spiritual pursuit. So what is the opposite of extrovertedness? No, introvertedness is okay, but what is the Vishaya? If let us say objects are extroverted Vishaya, right? Repeatedly I thought about Vishaya, mind became extroverted. Now what should I think about so mind will become introverted? Atma. He says, don't take it, just like mind got extroverted by repetition, it will also get turned inwards to repetition only. There is no other way. So Atma Vichara, more I can give this mind, more I feel the limitations of turning outwards, to that extent mind will keep turning inwards. It is not a brute force method, that somehow or the other I will give Atma to think about for this mind. I cannot. I myself will have to realize the futility. Where am I going by analyzing people, analyzing objects? If I use that time for Atma Chintanam, if I use that time for God realization, I can make a better use of this human birth. So Bahir Mukta will get countered by giving Atma as Vishaya for Chintanam. Second one was Sthulata. Mind will naturally go towards sense objects. How can I counter that thing? What is the opposite of Sthula? Sukshma. Give this mind some subtle things to think about. Whatever values are there, or whatever Vedantic points are there, hold on to one idea and then try to think about that particular idea and see whether mind stays there or not. It will not stay in the beginning. He says, just like we practice this and made mind Sthula, we have to practice this and make mind Sukshma. More the repetition, better is the chance of abiding there. And what was the third one? Chanchalata. If my object is Chanchala, mind will be Chanchala. So many things are there in this world, constantly changing. And if I am thinking about world with this mind will also keep becoming Chanchala. On the other hand, Brahma is Achanchala. So think about that thing which never changes. Think about that thing which never modifies. And in this also Bhagavan says we will need practice. So Arjuna, the choice is yours. Don't say that mind is of this nature by default. It is not its inherent nature. It will remain like that as long as you want it to remain like that. You decide to change the direction of this mind, slowly and steadily, it will change its texture also. In fact, true spiritual progress is changing the direction of our mind. From going towards Vishaya to going towards Atma. The way I used to think before, after becoming spiritual, I have to start thinking differently. The way I was responding before, after studying Vedanta, I should start responding differently. When that happens, Bhagavan says, Vashyatmana tu yatata shakyah avaptum upayatah. 36th verse he said, the one who has controlled this mind through abhyasa, through repetition, and through vairagya, through conversation, that person can get this samyak darshanam. Abidance in the self will be available for that person. And if he uses this technique, controlling the mind is possible. Avaptum shakyah. Controlling this mind is possible provided you use the technique of abhyasa, repetition, and vairagya, conversation. Children also, when they are doing mischief, what is one way of quietening them? You just keep watching. I've seen this in Balvihar assemblies. If there is one group of kids who are talking, one teacher will go and just stand there. And that child cannot be mischievous for too long. After some time, he'll become quiet. Like that, we should start watching our mind. Where is it going? What does it want to do? Bhagavan also says, if somebody takes this lightly and doesn't control the mind, Bhagavan says self-abidance for this person is not possible. Look at the first line, 36th verse. Asanyatatmana yogaha dushprapa iti me matihi. Asanyatatmana means one who has not controlled the mind through abhyasa and vairagya. For that person, dushprapa means he attains with great difficulty. Self-abidance, it will take longer for him. There are more difficulties to attain. So one Q&A, Bhagavan has answered now. What was Arjuna's question? Mind is very turbulent. How do I control this mind? But please appreciate this solution. It will come again in Mandukya Karika. In Mandukya it is said, how do you control the mind in meditation? Same thing is quoted. Abhyasa and Vairagya. But more we appreciate Bhagavan's solution, it will open up many things in our life. All other solutions you see, they will only treat the symptoms, not the cause. If you search how do you control anger, so many solutions are available. Drink cold water, count until 100 every time you get angry. Those are not solutions which will remove anger for good. Real thing is, I have allowed my personality to be angry. I have done abhyasa of that personality, and the biggest fault that can happen for a sadhaka is, I am okay with that anger. I am okay with that anger. In fact, I feel joy in that anger. Bhagavan says, don't do that mistake. Correct this mind whenever it walks on the path of adharma. Anger is called as Narakadvara in Bhagavad Geeta. He says that is the doorway to hell. Whenever I understand it, I will start working on it. Those limitations, counter of it, if I start doing abhyasa, Bhagavan says those positives also will get strengthened. Now Arjuna asks another question. He says, Bhagavan, I am getting a lot of doubts right now. You said this abhyasa everybody has to do. But let us say there is some person. He knows what is the right thing. You ask him what is the purpose of human birth, he will say, self-abidance is the purpose of human birth. How do you get self-abidance? He will say, okay, I have to do Shravanam. He can define all sadhana chatushtayas. What is Viveka, what is Vairagya, Shamadhi Shatka Sampati, everything he can define. But only thing is, he is not putting forth sufficient effort to actually abide in that truth. And before he gets that self-abidance, his body drops. Before he gets self-abidance, his body drops. Now, if let us say he was not studying Vedanta, he was doing some karma kanda, then at least he has the punya account that he is getting from karma kanda, where higher worlds he can go. But because he started walking on the path of Vedanta, right from day one they started telling him, karma and jnana cannot go together, wholeheartedly pursue jnana. You don't have to do all the elaborate karma kanda part, just focus on jnana. So he says, I have a doubt, because he left karma kanda, he will not get higher worlds. And because he did not get self-abidance, he will not get moksha also. Where will this person go? Na maya mili na Ram. If he had sought the world, at least he would have gotten the world. He left the world thinking that I will get Rama, and he did not get Rama. He is in between now. Is he like a cloud that gets scattered in between? Very precise example he gives. Let's say there is one water-bearing cloud, it is going and showering. And one small portion of cloud gets separated from it. And separated in such a way that it doesn't join to the next cloud. He says that cloud which is separated, wind comes and just scatters it away. Neither it is with the first one, nor it is with the second one. Like that, he says the first cloud is Karma Kanda, second cloud is Vedanta, Jnana Kanda. So this in-between cloud which separated from Karma Kanda, separated from cloud number 1, but did not join to the second one. Does it get just scattered away like the wind scattering cloud? Does the jiva just get lost? That is Arjuna's question. You see what he says. Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopetah yoga chalita manasah aprapya yoga samsiddhim kam gatim krishna gacchati kachinno bhaya vibhrashtah छिन्नाभ्रविमनश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढो ब्रह्मणः पथि एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण छेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते. अर्जुन उवाच योगाचलितमानसः अप्राप्य योगसंसिद्धिम् अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढो ब्रह्मणः पथि एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण हेतुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते. Ayatihi. Ayatihi means a person who is not putting sufficient efforts. Not that he is putting no effort. To abide in this truth, having been told to abide in this truth, having understood what should be the purpose of life. In spite of knowing this, he is not diligent enough to seek self-abidance. Why would a person do this? Vivek Chudamani Shankaracharya says, the one who does pramada, one who does inadvertence in one's own good is laughable. Itah konvasti moodhatma yastu swarte pramadyati. For somebody else, for some other purpose, if somebody was doing pramada, it's understandable. But in one's own good, if somebody does pramada, he says it's very difficult to understand. But we know how it is. Our vasanas sometimes become so strong that in spite of knowing what is the right thing to do, we are unable to do that thing. In spite of knowing that we have to seek this non-dual truth, and in that dissolve this whole universe, still mind will get stuck in something of this universe. And if I am not diligent enough, I will get this title, Ayatihi. Diligent enough for what? Diligent enough to hold on to that truth. To single-pointedly push through my vasanas and say, this is what I want. Why do you call that person sadhaka then, if he is not putting forth sufficient effort? Shraddhaya upetaha. Look at the second word. Shraddhaya upetaha means he has lot of faith on what is the right thing to do. You ask him what should be the purpose of life, he will say Brahma Prapti should be the purpose of life. What is it that you should not do? He said, don't go after Vishayas. Everything he knows. And not that he is insincere. Shraddhaya means he has faith in those things. His intellect has wholeheartedly accepted that my culmination of this journey, my goal is self-abidance. But in spite of that, he is ayatihi. Means Vedanta is asking us, for attaining self-abidance, are we doing enough? Our efforts right now, is it the best effort that I can put in this human birth to get self-abidance? If not, then that person is called ayatihi. But he is a pious person. Shraddhaya upetaha. He knows what is the right thing. Right from the beginning he has understood. 6th chapter Bhagavan said, how to become Arurukshu. Karma karanam uchyate. I have to do karma yoga. Then I have to become yoga rudha. Master the mind. Shamah karana uchyate. That he understood. Mind is my best friend. Mind is my best enemy. That also he knows. And all steps of meditation he has understood. What is the only thing that he doesn't do? Meditation. That is ayatihi. Not that he doesn't have faith for meditation. He doesn't have faith in this fact that we have to meditate. But he is not putting forth sufficient effort to meditate. Ayatihi, but he has lot of faith. Shraddhaya upetaha. What happened to such a person? Yoga chalita manasaha. By God's grace, he got Shravanam. By God's grace, he got opportunity to listen to Mahavakya and Vedanta. And with Bhagwan's grace, there was a glimpse of this truth also. That at least he was able to appreciate, yes, I am that consciousness. And this whole world is an appearance in me. But because he was not putting forth effort, his mind walked away from this understanding. Chalita means walking. Yogat chalita means from that understanding, it walked away. Who walked away? Manasaha. That mind which understood, I am that consciousness in which this whole universe is appearing. That mind, because of vasanas, because of his past habits, it walked away from that understanding. Another name for such a person is Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta means his mind became Bhrashta from this understanding of yoga. Mind started giving more reality to duality in spite of understanding non-duality. See, you can lose something only when you have it, okay? When do you say, I have lost something? I lost my watch. If I never owned a watch, there is no question of losing a watch. But if I had a watch and then I lose it, I say I have lost a watch. Like that, this person gained knowledge. But because he was not diligent, his mind drifted away from this knowledge. Yoga chalita manasaha. Aprapya yoga samsiddhim. He was unable to get abidance in the self. Yoga samsiddhi means self-abidance, aprapya, without getting it. Kam gatim Krishna gacchati. Where does such a person go? What is his destination? He clarifies further. Bhagavan, you know what I am thinking? Kachit, isn't it this person is ubhaya vibrashtah? Ubhaya vibrashta means path of karma also went away, path of jnana also went away. How did karma go away? Because he was not doing any rituals to go to Swarga. Right, in Vedanta they said, Iha amutra phala bhogeshu viragah. You should have vairagya from enjoyments here and hereafter. So he did not engage in active karma kanda to go to Swarga. So if you did not do some karma, you will not get that karma phala. So that path is closed. And aprapya yoga samsiddhim, he did not get self-abidance. So isn't he getting deprived of both these paths? Path of karma, path of jnana. Isn't it like that? Kachinnaha ubhaya vibrashtaha chinnabhram iva nashyati. Like a small cloud which has gotten separated from bigger cloud, how it gets blown away? How it gets blown away by wind? Isn't it that this jiva also gets blown away? Apratishto mahabaho. Apratishta means one who did not get support of karma, neither did he get support of jnana. He is rootless. Apratishtaha. Mahabaho. This adjective is for whom? Mahabaho. Bhagwan Krishna. Bhagwan Krishna calls Arjuna as Mahabaho, but here Arjuna calls Bhagwan Krishna as Mahabaho. Madhusudan Saraswati ji, he writes, Mahabahu means one who is capable of giving all four purusharthas. His four hands represent four purushartha, one who can give dharma, artha, kama and moksha. One who can give all four purusharthas, that is Bhagavan, and also the one who is very patient in answering questions. He says Arjuna is using that adjective, that you are so patient that if I ask one more question, you will patiently answer. So he says that is this Mahabaho. Vimudaha Brahmanah Pati. From the path of Brahman, he got deluded. He was unable to get that abidance. He strayed away from this understanding. Etan me samshayam Krishna. This is my doubt, O Bhagwan Krishna. What happens to this person? And you are the only one who can answer this question for good. Chetum arhasi asheshatah. You can remove this doubt for good, because what happens to a jiva after this body drops? Only Bhagwan knows. Nobody else can give any information on this point. What happens to a jiva after this sharira? He says, you are the one who knows going and coming of jivas, so you are the one who can answer this question for good. And he says, Bhagwan, please don't send me to anybody else. Don't tell me, ask this rishi, ask that rishi. Tvadanyaha samshayase asya chetta na hyupapadyate. He says, my conviction is, other than you, there is nobody who can remove this doubt of mine. Now you see, for whom is Arjuna asking this question? One is for himself. He has just heard this teaching. And where is he standing right now? In battlefield. He says, Bhagwan, one part I've heard your teaching, another part my mind is thinking what should be our next strategy now. And if I'm in this battlefield, there is no guarantee when this body is going to drop. But I have understood the truth. Abidance has not come yet. What will happen to me? That is one way to look at it. Second is, this question applies to one who takes sannyasa. In sannyasa marga, all actions are given up. Even the actions which lead a person to greater destinations, good destinations, all those actions are given up. And wholeheartedly he is pursuing self-abidance, doing only Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And let us say for some reason, body drops before abidance comes. He says, what happens to such a person? But the important word to pay attention to is ayatihi. Time and again, Vedanta will ask a sincere seeker, are you doing enough? If not, when will you start doing? Janamataro baatame beeta gayo. Whole life is gone in talking only. Abato kabahuna Rama kahyo. Even now you are not saying Rama. 5 बरस का भोला भाला अबतो 20 भयो. That boy who was nice and little 5-year-old has become 20-year-old. But Maya has not left him. Magar pachisi Maya karan desha videsha gayo. With several pursuits and hopes, he is going from one place to another. That is the question Vedanta asks a sincere seeker. And that sadhaka, with God's grace, from Artha Bhakta, Artharthi Bhakta, becomes Jijnasu Bhakta. Artha Bhakta means one who asks in distress. Artharthi means one who asks out of desire. Now suddenly, the nature of his prayer has changed. His bond with Bhagwan is so strong, he says, Bhagwan, my day-to-day things I know you will take care. But please give me more vairagya. Please give me more bhakti and this spiritual stamina to do more sadhana. Otherwise, time is going by. Day and nights are going by. Seasons are changing. Years are changing. Dinaya minyau sayam pratah shishiravasantav punarayatah. Day and night, dawn and dusk, different seasons, they come and go. And we think we are playing with life. Shankaracharya says, life is playing with us. Kalaha kridati. Karta is kalaha there. Kalaha kridati gacchati ayuhu. Life is going by. Tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. Even then, this desire to enjoy is not leaving us. So Vedanta is asking that question, are we doing enough? Now Bhagwan answers Arjuna's question in a very assuring way. Bhagwan doesn't mix words, doesn't give some ambiguous answers. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Parthanaiveha namutra Vinashastasya vidyate Nahi kalyanakrit kaschite Durgatim tata gacchati Shri Bhagavan uvacha Hey Partha, one thing you be assured. For a person who is striving to live a spiritual life, there is no harm that is going to come to him here or hereafter. Partha, na eva iha. Iha means in this life. Amutra. Na amutra means in afterlife. Tasya vinashaha na vidyate. Vinashaha here means going to a situation which was worse than the previous one. If he got human birth in this life and he was a sadhaka trying to cultivate values, trying to be devotee of God, He says, be assured your next birth is not going to be lower than human birth. Hina Janma Prapti doesn't happen. Hina Janma means what? Lower forms of life than this present life, where degrees of freedom are less. Why do we say plant and other yonis which don't have karmendriyas, they are lower forms of life? Because their degrees of expression are limited. See, if a plant is there and it is thirsty, even if water is kept next to it, it cannot drink. Why is that? There is no organ of action. Somebody has to come, take that water and put it. Then only it can quench its thirst. Human birth, there is karmendriya, there is jnanendriya. Like that, Bhagavan is telling, for the one who is walking on the spiritual path, their journey here and hereafter will not be worse than the previous one. Hereafter it is clear, right? Means next janma will not be inferior to the present janma. But iha, that word is there. Na iha means while living in this world also, the life of a sadhaka, the joy that a sadhaka gets, the purity of mind which a sadhaka gets will be much greater than an indulgent person. The joy a person is getting through Vishayas, sense objects, and the joy a person is getting through whatever little sadhana he is doing, whatever little devotion he has gotten, Bhagavan says that joy is much greater than the joy coming from sense objects. In 14th chapter and 18th chapter, Bhagavan will call this as Rajasik Sukham and Satvik Sukham. The joy coming from sense objects is called as Rajasik Sukham. And joy coming from japa, joy coming from pujanam, joy coming from living life of values, that is called as Satvika Sukham. He says, don't compare Satvik and Rajasik Sukham. Satvik Sukham is much greater than Rajasik Sukham. For this we have to sometimes appreciate where we were 15 years before and where God's grace has brought us today. What were our choices 20 years before? What are our choices today? Because sometimes what happens, when we don't appreciate these things, we take everything for granted. We feel this is how life is, this is how it was meant to be. Whatever is available freely, that thing also we don't appreciate much. Oxygen, for example, is available freely. We start feeling, it is meant to be that way. So here also, if we start appreciating our choices and notice what happens to me when I am an indulgent person, or I seek joy in Vishayas, and how it has changed when I start seeking joy in sadhana, sattvic things. One joy is a dependent joy. Rajasika Sukham is dependent joy. Only if I go to the movie with my best friends and that movie is just according to the way that I want, then it will be a good movie. I will be happy. And just imagine the factors which are involved. If one thing falls apart, whole joy is gone. Rajasik Sukham, that is the signature. It's like a pack of, what do they make with ice cream sticks? Tower they make. One thing you remove, everything falls down. Rajasik Sukham is like that, very unstable. Satvik Sukham is independent. Who can disturb our japa? No external person. If we get more conviction in our sadhana, doing pujanam of the Lord, doing japa, doing meditation, there is no dependence on other person. We don't need too many instruments also. To the extent joy becomes independent, to that extent it is called as Satvik Sukham. So Bhagavan says, life of a sadhaka, that joy is much greater than life of a Vishayi. Vishayi means one who revels in Vishaya. He is not talking about jnani yet. He is talking about somebody who is living a disciplined, dharmic life, God-centered life. His life, joy that he gets is much greater than joy coming from sense objects. So he doesn't get destroyed here, nor does he get destroyed hereafter. Na iha nahi kalyanakrit kaschit. Kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. Person who is doing kalyana doesn't mean marriage over here. Some Mahatmas, they read it that way. One who does kalyana na durgatim tata gacchati. One who does shubha karma. One who tries to cultivate values in himself, that person doesn't go to lower worlds. See, all of us are doing Vedanta Shravanam, right? We should have conviction in our path. No matter who says what, we should have conviction what this path is going to give me. I found a very nice shloka on the Punya Karma gained through Vedanta Shravanam. This you will not find it generally. Have you heard about, see, we know Punya Karma coming from doing some ritual, Punya Karma coming from Danam, Punya Karma coming from some other social work. Have you heard about Punya Karma coming from Shravanam? See the shloka, it is from one Smriti. Dine dine tu Vedanta, Shravanat Bhakti Sanyutat. If every single day a person does Vedanta Shravanam with lot of devotion, Dine dine tu Vedanta Shravanat Bhakti Sanyutat Guru Shushrushaya Labdhat. If he has surrendered to his teacher and with that bhakti he is doing Shravanam, Kruchra Shiti Phalam Labhet. He gets result which is equivalent to doing all the tapasyas like Kruchra and Chandrayana Vrata. Those are austere types of fasting, where on a new moon day you fast. And as the moon grows, you increase that much portion of your food. So if let us say you are used to eating one roti, divide that roti into 15 parts. On first day, that person will eat nothing. Second day, 1 part, 1/15 of that part. Next day, another 2 of that part. Like this, he will go to 1 roti on the 15th day. So whatever is the main food that he eats, that he divides into 15 parts and slowly starts increasing it. See, generally, when you fast completely, you forget about food. Your hunger is not that much. But if you eat less than what you generally eat, hunger is even more. And there are very strict rules for that vratam. But this Smriti says, one who does Vedanta Shravanam, but not casually, with devotion, with surrender, he gets Punya Karma of all these tapasyas. Madhusudan Saraswati ji, he quotes several other verses from Mahabharata and other places. One who does Vedanta Shravanam, he says they get the result of doing Ashwamedha Yaga. Somebody who is doing Ashwamedha Yaga, that Punya Karma is available to this person who does sincere Shravanam. So Arjuna, don't have this doubt. What will happen to him hereafter? While he is living here, he will be happy because he is developing all virtues and values. Hereafter also, he will get good destinations. But where exactly does he go? What is his next destination? That he will explain in the next set of verses. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.